Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to go over is entailed with land search and then everything that goes along with it, searching for land, but also wanting to build on it or do something with it. And then what the contracts look like as well and stuff you need to look for inside that as well. So the very first thing I wanted to go over is when we're looking for land, um, it depends on what you're looking for. Are you looking to build a house on it? Are you looking for commercial space on it? Are you looking for just land to hunt on? Every scenario is different. But let's just say we're looking for land for a residential house for someone. This is probably the most common, and this is the easiest way of doing it. So really, ideally, what you want to do is first get a perk test on it, which if you don't know what a perk test, it is right here, all the definition, and I'll just read it word for word. It says a perk test determines the water absorption rate of the soil or the percolation rate. This test is essential to understand whether a septic system can be installed. So if the land is rural and municipal sewer system isn't available, a septic system helps make a property. For those that don't know what a septic system is, basically that's where all the bathroom stuff goes when you guys don't have city plumbing. So a septic is great to have because it's a lot cheaper. You're kind of off grid at that point. But getting this perk test, you want to make sure that the land is buildable. And then it also determines at like what type of foundation you're going to be doing, whether you have to do a slab, crawl, or whatever in between. Um, so perk test is very essential. Most people are going to want this test done before they even put it on the market. So a seller, if I'm going to a seller, I'm going to say, hey, let's get a perk test done. That way we can provide all this information for the buyers when they're going to go check out the house. So getting a perk test is very, very crucial. How much it costs, I honestly don't know. So that would be a good question to type here. Let's just say, um, price on getting a perk test. And let's say a perk test is generally anywhere between 150 to 1500, and I'm guessing based off of how big the property is. So really, that's not too bad for getting a test for the land. But it's very crucial because then you'll actually know what you can build there, and that's the important part. The next thing you want to do is make sure it's not in a wetlands. So for those that don't know what a wetland is, a wetland is a distinct ecosystem that is flooded by water, either permanently or seasonally, where oxygen-free processes prevail. Um, so surprisingly, in Hampton Roads, there are a lot of wetlands. And this is exactly why a lot of land you'll see in Virginia Beach, which is a very prominent area of building, doesn't have buildings on it. And it's because there's a bunch of wetlands. Now, how can you see if a place is wetlands? Honestly, I don't know. That's not something we can see on REIN. I know there's probably a map somewhere on Google that you can search it, but I've been in the Virginia Beach City Audit Office before to where they'll show, hey, this area is wetlands. So if you guys are ever on the buying side of looking for land, get the perk test done. And then second, check if there's any wetlands, because if they originally thought they had an acre of land and the wetlands cover half of that land is not able to be built on. The government just won't let you. So that is something that you always want to check. And honestly, you could probably just go to the city and figure it out. But there might be a website on here too that might show it. I just don't know yet. So if we want to set up a land search, I'll show you guys exactly what I do. So, I'll just go to Matrix here. Oh, they want me to re-log in real quick. All right, so I'm logged in. Let's go ahead and we're going to hover over search, and then we're going to click on land and farms. This is always what I use to look for land. Now, you could technically do a cross property, which looks for everything, but it's not what we want. The next thing here is the current use. If we want to look for anything specific, like are they looking for land where they can put horses on? Are they looking where they can use dairy, pasture, poultry, whatever it is, this will always help you. And then the next thing that's very important is possible use. And this possible use is what the zoning is already for this house, or not house, but this land. So that is a good thing to look at because you can say, hey, this land is already being used for agricultural. My guy wants that, so that's great. That'd be like an AG1, that's zoning. And zoning is very, very important when it comes to land as well. So the biggest thing that we want to look at here is zoning. And I'm not sure it is up here. There it is. So zoning's right there. So if you're looking for a specific type of zoning, you go ahead and type that in there. Like if I put AG1, which is agricultural, and that is where you can build one house on it. I can click on results, and then it'll actually show me all the ones in AG1. And I can see there's multiple in Pungo, and some in Sandbridge. If I click on this one lot over here, this is 38 acres for sale for 3.5 million. If we click on this listing, we'll see it's AG1. So technically right now, even though it's 38 acres, this land is currently being used for farming. That's the agricultural part. But not just that, it says it can only build one house on that lot, and that's just based off the current zoning. So if I'm trying to go to a builder and say, hey, there's 38 acres here for sale in Pungo, to where potentially you can build subdivision just like this right next to it, how do you get that sold? Like, well, what you have to do is now you have to go to the city and ask for a variance and a rezoning. So you have to go to the zoning board and make sure first that you can actually get that approved by the city. And that's the hardest part because the city's going to look at this and they're going to say, how is a subdivision going to benefit us when we could just build one house and then just keep it for farmland? So sometimes fighting that fight is usually tough, and you have to make your case really on why you want to zone this into, let's just say, 15 properties. That is the first hard part. And the whole zoning thing, getting that rezoned, it's a lengthy process. It can be expensive in some ways. The process can generally take up to a year to rezone. And what they'll do is they'll actually put a like say you're trying to get it rezoned, and let's say it's going from AG1 to where you want it to R15, to where you'll allow 15,000 square foot lots on there. That right there, they're going to put a giant orange sign in the front of property, probably there and here, and say, hey, we are having a rezoning committee with city council, and it is going to take place on this date. If you have any oppositions, please come. So in this case, that's great because they're actually considering it, but they're holding basically a town hall to figure out if any city members actually oppose of it. And if plenty of people oppose of it, then the city board will say, we're not going to do it. But if you get quite a few people on board and really fight for your case, then that's where the whole zoning thing can change. So it's a lengthy process, and that is something you really have to take in consideration, because I can't just say to the builder, hey, there's 38 acres here for sale, just like it shows, or 35, sorry, says 35, but it's only zoned for one house. So you have to go to the builder, and when you're writing a contract just like this saying, hey, I'm going to do this, I think I can put 20 lots on this, you really have to put it in the contract saying a due diligence period of 1 year before you even buy this house. And that due diligence period is so you can do your perk test if they haven't done it already, and then to do other tests as well, make sure the soil is fine, make sure there's no wetlands, and then make sure you can actually build 20 houses in there. And sometimes we can click on view documents and they'll already have their test done. So I'm curious to see if on this scenario that they've already put in certain tests. Some that you can usually see on this is a survey. Seeing a survey would be fantastic when it comes to land, because the survey will actually show you the boundary lines, all the coordinates, how far each block is. And here they don't have any of that. All they have is the AQs. So that is very disappointing. And they've even messed that up because there's no way it's both of these. So very good to see, Robert White. Very good to see. So this would not be a good property or a good listing agent to list property. You really want all that testing done, because a potential buyer like me could show I've already done all the background search. So it is just not good. But in this instance, you always want to read the remarks. And this one says seller, farmer reserves the right to harvest crops. And on this one, they're saying buyer to pay any rollback taxes. So There's a lot of bad things going on with this land, even though it's prime time land in Pungo. It is a very tough one to consider. So let's go back to the search real quick. So I'm usually searching either by not really zoning, but possible use. Because if I go on here and look possible use of residential, and then I don't want anything under contract. And actually there should be, yeah, so I don't want any of that. That leaves 892. And let's just say I want to spend up to 0 to 300,000. And I want to, well, let's just click and see what's available. So in Hampton Roads, up to 300K, there's almost 700 or 800 properties. Let's go ahead and limit that to Virginia Beach because I'm a VB guy. So we're going to go Virginia Beach. And there's 13 properties. There we are. Let's go ahead and click on one. This shows 10 acres in Pungo. It shows the 35. Check this out. In London Point, 279,000. This says it is 8.99 acres. There's road frontage, which is good. It shows you the school zones. This says AG2, which means technically you could build 2 houses on this, which is great. And then it says owner currently getting lot approved for 1 home site, approved for a conventional septic system, which is normal. Builder packages are available. Survey is attached. Call agent for more details and see attached date. That is a fantastic agent that did all this work. So let's go ahead, click on the documents, and I actually want to see what they're providing. If this again just shows the AQs, this is crazy. So they're probably saying call agent and I'll send you the details. But if you actually, if you're the listing agent, you can upload those documents and put it in the documents. But sometimes here they'll say AQs and then all of them are on one. So I'm curious on what they're going to say here. So I'm going to pull up the chat. So Jenny says, do sellers ever do pre-listing perk tests? You 100% should. If I'm on the listing side, I definitely want to do that just because you're going to set up the buyers so much easier. You're going to give them a lot more ease of mind for actually wanting to purchase it. And then AG1 is the one house. Could a garage be built or would that be considered a second house? Garage structures are different. A garage structure could technically pass to where if it has a garage and it's got a room and a living space, it can count as a garage. And I've seen it before where they put a massive garage next to the house and then put a room above. So that is allowed. And then for land surveys, usually done pre-listing as well. Yes, getting a survey pre-listing and the perk test would be ideal, solely because if you can put that all in the document section and then in the age remarks say documents attached, please see, you are going to set yourself up way better and get that land sold way faster. Brianna says our property is limited in bathroom amounts depending on the size of the lot. No, however, if you do get, let's say you get the perk test and the perk test says you have to have a septic system, the septic system will depend on how many bedrooms you have and how many bathrooms. So if the septic system, you can get a massive one where it can fit 5 bathrooms and 10 bedrooms. But that perk test will tell you exactly how big of a septic system you can have. So it can limit it, but in most cases that land isn't going to say, no, you can only put 3 or 4, especially if city water and electric are available, you're going to be fine on building whatever, as long as it fits within the amount. Now, when I built my house in Lagomar, and zoning means everything. So my area is an R15, which means I can build, I have to build on a 15,000 square foot lot. And my lot is like 29,000. And I tried actually splitting it into 2 to make it 2 lots because it's large. I mean, there's like it's 2/3 of an acre. So I was trying to make it 1/3 each, but it was just under 1/3 each. And 15,000 is 1/3 of an acre, just to let you know. And so I tried asking for a variance saying, can we go differently from the zoning and make it an R14? And I fought it for about a year and the city ultimately said no, because when they did the rezoning, a lot of the neighbors in the neighborhood complained that they didn't want two houses on the street. So at that point, I could not actually build two houses. Then I was stuck with one lot and I could only build one house. So in this case, I was stuck with it because I wrote a contract without a due diligence. And without that due diligence, I couldn't just say, well, I'm not going to buy the land anymore. I was actually already stuck. So that was a mistake on my end, but I'm glad it went the way it did. Um, but anyways, let's look at this. So you can see everything normal, like how much the selling agent would get paid on this. So this is just like you selling another house. Um, Sometimes they have a lot of photos, which is fantastic. They took this from REIN. Seeing all these views with the aerial and the drone is fantastic. London Point is a very, very beautiful area. It is very far in Virginia Beach, but ultimately very beautiful place. Says current use is crops, but with crops and it's the AG2, you can build two houses. Um, and taxes is solely just based off of the lot. Once you build the house, the taxes will change. And then here, 8.9 acre building site near London Point, approximately 2 acres wooded. So it's all good info to see. And if I click on the view map button here, it's going to show me exactly where this is. And it's right here. If I click on the satellite version, I can see here, this is the crops area. Here's the wooden side. And then all this, so it's right on London Point and Princess Anne, which is very interesting. It's good to see them. So then you can try and envision where you would put a driveway for building this house, which it could be multiple options, but pretty cool lot. You can see all the different lots out here. And then if you click on it, you can see lot dimensions. And now I can see it is 350,000 square feet. It's crazy. If you guys think about it, a football field is 300 feet. Um, that is insane. That's two football fields, and that's like three. So that's like five football fields. It's crazy. All right. So let's see. Brianna has a question. Does Virginia mandate where the house can be built on a lot in the driveway location, or is there a lot of buyer discretion? So it's not a state thing, it's a city thing. So the city, what you have to do first is let's say we're looking at this land, and you have a vision to put the driveway right here, and you're going to put the house right here. What you're going to have to do is get a survey, and then you're going to get a site plan to exactly where you plan on building that house and where the driveway and all that's going to go. At that point, then you've got to submit it to the city, and the city ultimately has to approve it. If they don't approve it, then you've got to change your plans. And if they don't approve it, then you could almost fight it and tell them why. And it's really just like you talking to another person, and they represent the city. And then sometimes if it goes far enough, it can go to city council, and then you can fight it there. But generally, it's just one person that's going to say, yes, approved, or no, not approved. And usually your builder is going to be doing that. You just tell the builder, hey, I want to build it right here. And the builder is going to say, all right, here's my site plan. City, here's my site plan. Can I get the permit to build now? And if they approve that, then everything can get rolling at that point. So yes, it is a city thing, and the buyer can have definitely input, but a lot of the time it's going to be between the builder and the city on this. Now, okay. Brianna says in California, it's backwards. The surveyor and the environmental people tell you where it can be built. So that's where the perk test and all that will come in, but it's really the city. So like, let's say I wanted to build it right here, but there's wetlands right there. I couldn't. No matter what, the environmental people would not let me because wetlands are protected. So in this case, me being the builder, I would have known this ahead of time, showing that there are wetlands here. So I would say, hey, let's move the house to the right. Let's be out of the wetlands to make it work. But ultimately, once that is set and like the land is fine, septic area is fine, there's no wetlands there, it should be fine to build there. You just got to cut down some trees. You submit that approval to the city, and then the city will say, yes, you can build it. So sometimes the environmental people can get involved, but as long as you've got all your tests, the builder's got the approved plans, and the city says yes, then you can go right ahead. So let's go back here. Let's see if there's anything else that's important to take a look at. Something that says here is utilities. This is very, very important because if it says electric available, telephone available, this is great because now the builder doesn't have to really pull electric. And I've seen on the city website before to where you can actually see the lines of where the electric and water lines are underground. It's very, very cool. I've only seen it under city software. So here, if I saw the electric that ran all the way across this road, that's fantastic because the builder can tie in to electric to your house, which is great. If the electric stopped here, it's actually going to cost you more money, the buyer, to run that electric all the way down and then down in here. And sometimes people have to run power lines, which definitely gets a lot more expensive. And if there's no water available, there's a couple options to get water utilities. Um, if you don't have city water, you can do a well. So then you're going to have to be in well water. But then that's where the perk test comes in as well and make sure you can get all that environmental approved. If the well is good, then you're good. You don't have to worry about the city utilities. But if there isn't, and you have to get city water and it's way over here, yeah, that's going to cost you a lot more money as well. So you always want to know where your utility lines are as well. And the city, again, will be able to show you that stuff. I wish I had software on here, but I do not. So that is where the city takes in a key play, especially with the builder that you're working with. Seeing what's available is great to see. And then do you have a preferred builder you work with? Asking, we have clients who want to buy land and build a custom. Yes, I do. All you have to do is give me a call and then I can definitely point you in that right direction for sure. I had a builder work on my house and was not too pleased, so we definitely have other options now. So next, what we want to look at, let's see, there's nothing really else important. Oh, except here they prove that they have a land survey. So that's fantastic. That saves you some time. But let's actually go to the side of what the contracts look like. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Instinet. And I'm actually not going to create a transaction. I'm just going to look at documents here. And then I'm going to create a standalone transaction just to be able to show you guys what it looks like. Ooh, transaction, nope, where is it? Forms, here we go, sorry. Land. So I didn't really have to type in land just because it shows here if I go to purchase, and then I could look up land this way. But if I'm going to do land, generally I'm just going to look at this. So then I can see the data input. I could do addendums between it, but contracts to purchase for unimproved land is well, that's the VAR one. I'm pretty sure REIN has their own. Let's see. Then we're going to go type in land. So the data input is if you're on the listing side. Okay, I guess it is the VAR one. So contract to purchase for unimproved land. We're going to create a new standalone form. And we say unimproved land, that's generally what it's going to make up of when you are purchasing land just like this for a builder or for clients. So in this case, you're going to put down a purchase price just like you normally do. Third party first trust, that is a little different scenario. So if any of this ever comes up, and I don't have time to go into it today, then we can talk about it. Seller financing, this is if they're going to be doing financing from the seller. If you guys don't know what that is a whole nother conversation as well. It's just another form of buying it. Really here, this is a deposit and who the escrow agent is going to be, who the financing is going to be by. Most lenders don't just lend money for land if you plan on doing nothing with it, but they will do a construction of perm or some other things and say you have to build a house within 6 months. So it always gets a little crazy. So every situation is different. There are some people that will just lend for land. Most times, well, it depends, Jenny, what kind of loans can people use to purchase land? So if it's just land, like let's say someone says, I want to buy this 100 acres to purchase just for hunting. Most lenders, 99% of lenders are not going to approve that. because the lenders want to be able to secure their money. And usually with securing that, that is building a house, not for just land. So in most of those cases, that land is actually bought by cash. I may know of one lender that actually loans for just land. Um, but almost every single other one wants usually a construction of perm to where you basically close on the property twice. And that is going to say, I'm going to build a house within 6 months, or at least start the process within 6 months. And the closing on it twice means you're going to close on it for the purchase of the land and then pay that interest and all that. And then you're going to close on it again when the house is officially done, to have the builder paid and the draws and all that. So it gets a little complex, but it's definitely possible. Ideally, if you guys plan on getting land, talk to the builder first, because they'll have a plan of what you should do and how it's going to work with them as well. But generally, construction of perm is what you're looking for. And a local bank is someone that you generally want to look for on that as well. When we're going down here, settlement possession, study period. This is what I was talking about with the due diligence. This is what we call it in North Carolina. But this is how long you want to give yourself time to do the perk test survey, figure out if it requires septic well. If you're trying to buy 30 acres, how much can you subdivide it in? So every scenario is different. If the listing agent was good and did all that work ahead of time, then it's great. It doesn't have to be too long. But the last land I tried selling for about, I think it was about 10 acres. The guy put down a year due diligence, and 4 months in, they found out that we couldn't subdivide as much as we originally thought we were told. So then they ended up backing out. So it was good on their end that they weren't forced to do it. And then there was other periods of what we went in as we said, per subdivided lot, it would sell for, let's just say, $50,000 per subdivided lot. And then I guess it was too low for them, where they didn't want to go buy it anymore. So there's a bunch of different stuff in here that you can do, but this is actually pretty easy to go by. And I'm pretty sure REIN has their own form in here, but I do not know why I cannot find it. Let's go back to purchase, and then I want to see their standard purchase agreements. So standard new construction, most people, if they're going to be building a house with a builder, this is probably the one they're going to be going with. But other than that, I don't see the other one. So maybe it is just VAR. Nope, there it is. Unimproved lot purchase agreement. Oh, no, I don't want to create a transaction. Create new standalone. Okay. So here is the REIN one. It's pretty similar to VAR. But honestly, all you have to do is read it, and there it is, the due diligence period, where I'm going to put 365 days. But it's very simple. If you guys ever need help with that, just let me know. But there's a million different routes that land can go. So really, you guys just have to do your own due diligence, and then just don't believe that even though it's saying 30 acres, you can divide it into 30 separate houses. So it's very tough, but land is ultimately great. And ideally, if someone's paying with cash, it is 100 times easier. Because if they buy with cash and then they build their own house, they can do whatever they want, because cash is king. So I hope this helped you guys. Any questions when it comes to this, just let me know, and I'm always here to help you guys. So I hope that helps, and everyone takes care. Bye, guys.